Investors concerned about a slowing economy and recession are on the right track. That is, if you're talking to our next guest. Yep, Peter-Schiff, president of Euro-Pacific Capital Inc., author of the Little Book of Bull Moves in Bear Markets, and CNBC's own Rick Santelli joins us now. Peter, good to see you.
Nice to see you again, Mark.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. You've gotten your head handed to you in gold. What's going on?
Well, remember, Mark, I didn't just start buying gold last month or last week. I've been buying it for years. So obviously gold is off its highs, but it's a lot higher than it was when I first started buying it.
Down 30% so far this year.
Well, the Dow is down more than that.
Right.
So, gold is still outperforming the Dow. But, often when, you have a major news event that happens in a day, you see the market makes a move in one direction and then makes a bigger move in the other direction. I think this is a head fake that we're having in gold, and the dollar is playing out over a longer time period. But the major move that's coming in the dollar and gold is way up in gold and way down in the dollar.
Rick Santelli, do you agree with that, way down in the dollar? Obviously, a recent trend, not that direction.
Well, I agree with Peter that the commodities are going to be volatile, and we may still be calling this a correction and a bull run. And I do agree with them that the dollar's strength is a readjustment of weak European issues, and that's going to run its course. But I do think that that course is still aggressive. I think you could see 1-to-1 in the euro.
I think it's more not because of weakness in Europe. I just think it's unwinding of a lot of trades. There's a lot of leverage out there. There's a lot of margin calls, a lot of redemptions. I think it's a lot of market noise. But remember,
I think it's all of that, yes.
Yeah, but the big problem is, all the economic growth that we had since the bursting of the tech bubble was phony. All we did is borrow trillions of dollars from the rest of the world. We blew the money on consumption. And now, all those Greenspan chickens are coming home to roost. This is not the problem. The problem is that we borrowed and spent all that money in the first place, and we never would have done it were it not for the most irresponsible monetary policy in U.S. history.
I just had this mental image of millions of chickens with glasses on. Listen, Peter.
Yeah.
The rats, the Greenspan thing just blew it completely out of my head. Let's go back to the dollar. Why do you think long term the dollar is going down?
Well, basically,
and you know what? Forget that question. I want to ask an even bigger alarmist question. Some people, and it kind of makes a little bit of sense to me. I'm not saying I endorse it or agree with it. But some people are saying the current crisis, this global credit crisis, banking crisis, confidence crisis, etc., demonstrates that the euro is, in the long run, unworkable. What do you think?
Well, I've always thought in the long run the euro was going to have problems, but I think the dollar's problems are much more acute right now. In answer to your question, what's actually happening right now is the world is basically realigning itself. That the global economy has been a function of the world saving and producing and America borrowing and spending. But now we're too broke to pay back the money. We have nothing to show for all our borrowing because we spent it. And this is causing a lot of angst around the world. When you loan somebody money and they can't pay you back, there's a problem. But the credit crisis is real, and it can't be solved by the government printing money. The credit is gone because the savings are gone. What the market is trying to do is bring about a badly needed recession, trying to get Americans to stop spending and start saving their money again, but the government is resisting it. And the reason the dollar is going to fall through the floor is because the trillions of dollars that the government is trying to create to try to replace all the savings that we don't have is very negative for the dollar. And once this market noise is over, foreigners are not going to buy our currency. They're not going to buy our bonds. The only buyer is going to be the Fed.
That's my thing. What else are they going to buy, Rick Santelli? I mean, okay, maybe the dollar isn't so great and we have problems, but who else is ready to step up? The euro is in
No, but you know what? Think about it. Peter's on to something that I really agree with. That the end game here is that all of these countries recycling our dollars back to support our current account deficit, our trade deficit, even our budget deficit, that once the realignment of the euro and the pound is done, that they aren't going to do that. So I agree with him. There's got to be a major higher interest rate environment around the globe when they stop supporting each other's debt habits.
And you got to remember that the problem problems that they're having right now around the world are not because of problems in their economies. It's because of all the bad loans they made to us. You know, we've bankrupted. You've got towns in Norway that have gone bankrupt. There's a bailout right now in Norway because of all the bad U.S. mortgages that Norwegian banks are holding on to.
Okay, but in Hungary they took out bad mortgages too, and they took currency risk, and they were just as addicted as we were.
They were just as addicted.
You know what? I deal with a lot of French and Norwegian bankers. I just met with some yesterday. And what I hear is that the only thing a lot of Europeans like better than French pastries were U.S. derivatives. So, you know, I don't know that it's us.
I know, but remember, we had such a huge trade deficit. They were earning all these dollars. They had nothing to do with them. And Wall Street came up with these crazy products that they assured everybody were so safe. And there was a big market for our debt because we had a huge current account deficit, and the money had to go someplace. And Greenspan had rates so low, nobody would put them in treasuries.
Okay, we got to go. Guys, Peter-Schiff, thank you, Peter-Schiff, Rick Santelli. I am shocked, sir, shocked that you would meet with French bankers. We'll talk to you later.
French and Norwegian bankers, Santelli.
What is wrong with him?